I'm so tired after the 3-hour meeting. Can you take me to a nice restaurant for lunch?
Hey, shall we go to my favorite restaurant? It's this one.
Oh, what is it good about?
Take a closer look.
What?
Hey, can't you see? It's a yellow restaurant.
And so?
When it is a yellow restaurant, it is a nice restaurant.
Is a yellow highlighter better than the orange one?
What?
A yellow school bus better than the white one?
I don't see what you mean.
Having yellow poster in front of a restaurant doesn't necessarily mean the restaurant is a good one, right?
No. Yellow doesn't mean just yellow. Yellow means pro-democracy.
But still a pro-democracy restaurant doesn't necessarily mean it is a good restaurant. Well, I understand that you are pro-democracy and it's normal to have in-group bias. This is quite a universal phenomenon. I'm taking a master's program in psychology, and that's what I learned in social psychology course.
But I don't think I am biased. I can still tell when the food sucks, even if it is a yellow restaurant.
Well, in the spirit of seeking the truth, your behavior alone does not represent the truth for the whole population. We need to perform an experiment to tell.
Alright, let's do an experiment and let's see whose view can stand the test of science.
Well. Can you first enlighten me further as to what yellow ribbon means?
Since the anti-extradition protests in June 2019 have turned into a democratic anti-government movement, the political stand in Hong Kong is highly divided into pro-democracy versus pro-government. People regarded themselves as yellow ribbon and blue ribbon, and there is no neutral at all. Since then, everyone has to show their political stand in everything in daily life, even deciding which restaurant to have lunch. It gradually turns into the yellow economic circle. The purpose is to support like-minded businesses, sustain the livelihoods of pro-democracy business owners, create job opportunities for supporters of the movement, and reduce local dependence on businesses that are connected to the Communist Party of China.
Will yellow ribbon show bias and have better impression to yellow restaurant? Let's conduct an experiment. We recruit certain amount of yellow ribbon. Randomly assign them to either control group or experiment group. Then, 6 different restaurant photos will be shown to them and ask them to rate their preference based on their impression in the following area: environment, food quality, hygiene, comfortability, as well as likely to go. Here are the photos. Prominent pro-democracy material has been included in experiment group's photo. And now, we move to our result. Total 108 valid data has been collected, with 55 in control group and 53 in experiment group. We find that there is a significantly difference between groups in environment, comfortability, and likely to go. However, there is no difference in food quality and hygiene.
So, why did the experiment results show that the yellow ribbon participant gave yellow restaurant a significantly higher rating in the majority of the aspects of the restaurant? According to the social psychology theories, this phenomenon is called in-group bias.
Before we explain what in-group bias is, we'll first discuss what is a social group. In the social world, people tend to divide themselves in groups, and a social group is a collection of individuals who perceive themselves to be members of the same social category and share a social identity, for example, a yellow ribbon group and a blue ribbon group. Whereas social identity is the part of an individual's self-concept, which derives from his knowledge of his membership of the group. For example, if I am a Wang Si, I value 民主自由. I then support 上街 and 黃色經濟圈. Wang Si is part of me. Whereas if I am Nam Si, I value 社會安寧. I like and support Hong Kong police. Nam Si is part of me. Once the group is formed, in-group bias emerge.
So, what is in-group bias then? In-group bias refers to the positive evaluation of the in-group by the in-group members in relation to the out-group. So in-group is we group and out-group is they group. In other words, in-group bias is a positive discrimination or bias favoring one's in-group over an out-group. So, in the experiment, we can see that the yellow ribbon group participant actually saw that the restaurant, the yellow restaurant, is part of the we group, is part of them, is part of the yellow economic circle. Therefore, they have rated the environment aspect, the comfortability aspect, and the likely to go aspect significantly higher. So why is in-group bias formed? Well, according to the social psychology theory, we can explain that through 4 perspectives.
The first perspective is evolutionary. From the evolutionary perspective, by selecting to give benefits to the in-group, it can provide functional benefits to the in-group and at the end benefit the group and the individuals. The second perspective is to protect self-esteem. As mentioned earlier, people regard themselves as part of the group, and the group is part of them. The group is, to a certain extent, equal to me. The group's interest is equal to my interest. By protecting the group's interest, it protects my interest so as to protect and maintain my self-esteem. The third perspective is reciprocity. The group member gives the group or another group member something, and she expects to get something back from the group or from some of the group members.
The fourth perspective is perceived threats from an out-group. If an in-group perceives threat from an out-group, this will enhance the in-group cohesion and identification, which will in turn strengthen the in-group bias. In the case of yellow ribbon group versus the blue ribbon group, because of the intensity of the conflict between the two groups, we can surmise that the yellow ribbon group supporters will perceive some sort of threat from the blue ribbon group, the out-group, in terms of political power struggle and also in terms of physical harm as well. Therefore, the yellow ribbon group will come closer together because of this perceived threat and will have stronger in-group bias. Now, how in-group bias has influenced or will influence our attitudes and behaviors. In the experiment here, in-group bias have biased both the participants' attitudes in terms of the cognitive and behavioral aspects in favor of the we group, the yellow ribbon group restaurant. For cognitive aspect, it is relevant to rating overall impression and the place of comfort and relaxation higher. And in terms of behavioral, they gave significantly higher rating to likelihood of eating at the restaurant.
Specifically, the in-group bias affects our behaviors in terms of how we cooperate with other in-group members. As research evidence suggests, only minimal cues are enough to elicit enhanced cooperation towards in-group members. From the photos that we show to the experimental groups, it provides some yellow features, which are cues that guide our participants to cooperate to the restaurant, which can explain why they are more likely to go to that restaurant. Here are more examples of in-group favoritism. In another experiment conducted by Martha in 2010, participants are more willing to endure physical pain themselves in order to reduce the pain of in-group members. In daily life, we are more willing to donate money to our own school instead of donating to another school. We may also show more acceptance to undesirable behaviors of someone supporting the same football team as us. That's the end of our presentation. Thank you, and we are Group 2.